everybody up? Can I get everybody up, please? It's Monday, February 10th, the Monday after Super Bowl Sunday. We'll be talking about that a little bit, but first, we are 2 days away from the Four Nations face-off. The first game is Canada versus Sweden. I will be here live streaming the game Thursday, USA versus Finland, and then also Saturday, the noon game, Sweden versus Finland. Those will both be live streamed here on Chicago Hockey Radio's YouTube channel. So please be on the lookout for that. In other news, I don't know, you might have heard us talk about it on this show. March 5th.
What's going on March 5th?
You want to hear what's going on March 5th?
I do.
Chicago Hockey Radio will be doing an in-person live stream of the game against Ottawa Senators at Midwest Coast Brewing. The game's at 6:30. Get there at 6. Discounted beers. The boys are going to be there.
Wow.
It's going to be like what we did on Saturday. Just in-person live, big TV. Justin, we also, in case you were wondering, we also have an RSVP link in the description.
Do we really?
Yes.
Wow.
So just so people can let us know if they're going, if they're not going, if they might be going. Please follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio, Twitter, TikTok.
Subscribe to this YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Please.
That's right. The Insta. We're pretty close to 1,000 followers, so let's get there soon.
Yep.
We'll get there by Saturday.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's the goal.
All right.
Super Bowl, can we start?
Yeah. Start.
All right. Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, I thought for sure that the script was yet another Chiefs victory, but the Eagles not only beat them, like they beat them down. I mean, the final score was 40-22, but the game was definitely much more of a blowout than that. I mean, a lot of the Chiefs scores came kind of late, in the game when it was too late. So the game itself obviously was kind of, disappointing. It wasn't really that great of a game, but the outcome I could not be more happy about. Just the last 2 years, the fact that Chiefs have won 3 of the last 4. I think their time was up, and I was kind of happy to see the Eagles take the mantle from them. So it seems like they're pretty happy about it over there in Philadelphia land. We knew no matter what the result, that city was going to be in disarray the next day. So, but I don't know. The halftime show, though, I must say, I thought it was going to be pretty good, but I thought it was kind of mid. So that was another takeaway. But and the game itself was kind of mid. But I'm happy the Chiefs lost. That's my main positive takeaway.
Yeah, I slapped a large wager on the Eagles, so I'm happy about that. But I'm not going to – I told these guys, a couple times throughout the game, I took the Chiefs spread live because I was like, surely it's not going to stay like this. And it stayed like that. I mean, I don't know. Mahomes just a couple interceptions, was not his best game.
Yeah, rough game for Mahomes. What happened there? And Kelsey, I don't know if he and Swift got an argument before the game because he was not locked in at all.
I mean, to be fair. The Chiefs O-line was like straight up Swiss cheese.
It looked like the Bears O-line.
Yeah, they got dominated. So Mahomes was getting hounded. He got hit numerous times. That
was like an average Caleb Williams game. He got sacked like how many times, dude?
Yeah, it was a lot. And the pocket was non-existent. So, I mean, interesting game. I wished it was a closer one, but the Chiefs kind of just got stomped. And, it does feel kind of nice. I have been saying all year that I didn't think the Chiefs were that good, relatively.
I mean, they made the Super Bowl.
They've won a lot of one-score games late.
Relatively.
I will say, though, I was convinced that the comeback was going to happen because, they played a lot of games this year down, having to come back. I think every Super Bowl they've been down at least 10. So when it was 24-0 in the halftime, I just kept thinking of that 28-3 game, that from Brady in 2017. But it never happened, thankfully. But I was convinced that was a script, but I guess not this year.
Yeah, dude, when it was 17-0, I had a buddy being like, oh, Lee, you were worried about betting Eagles money line. I'm like, are you new here? Have you not seen this guy, Patrick Mahomes, before? This is I
never felt safe. Yeah, until it was 34-0, I didn't feel safe. Even when it was 27, I still didn't feel safe.
When it was 17-0, they said that was the biggest deficit the Chiefs had been in 60 games or something.
Yeah,
and the last game they were in that big of a deficit. They came back and won. So I'm like, oh,
I thought that
good.
was setting the table a little bit there, but I guess not.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, as far as Super Bowls go, pretty boring, honestly.
Yeah.
Just because the Chiefs were never in that one. So.
No, I mean, I think most of the last few Super Bowls have been pretty close. That was probably the biggest deficit since the Bucks Chiefs one a few years ago. But I'd say the most boring one of my lifetime was the one where the Broncos just got absolutely curb stomped by the Seahawks. But
Yeah.
most of the ones in my lifetime have been pretty enjoyable. I would say it's hard to top that Atlanta Pats one from like 2017 when they came back 28-3. Brady was in the booth with that one, and I guess his presence with Mahomes, he just can't win when Brady's there.
Yeah, true. Brady's aura is too much. But yeah, shout out to anybody who had Eagles money line or the over or any of those nice little wagers. I had so many.
Anybody who had tails.
Anybody who had tails. True.
Did you guys get the color Gatorade right? I thought it was going to be green.
Dude, they said like one of the players who picked it up was like that bitch green, but it was I think it was lemon lime. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess they gotta get their eyes checked there, but maybe that's the closest thing they could go for in terms of Gatorade flavors. I don't know.
I think red Gatorade was like plus 1,800 or something crazy.
But why? Yeah, I mean, there's a Chiefs that makes sense.
The reason why the odds are so crazy for the Gatorade, I didn't bet on that shit, by the way. I'm not that much of a degenerate, but like everybody I was with did. People know what the color is going to be. Like, there are people tipping it off. Whoever's getting the Gatorade ready is definitely telling their friends who are telling their friends. So that it's not like that information. It's not.
What's Vegas have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, Vegas knows, and I think lemon lime was like minus 130 or something. So it's not like.
I mean, the odds of them drinking red Gatorade on an NFL sideline. Yeah, it is. Dude.
That's crazy?
Yeah.
How is that crazy compared to any other Gatorade?
Red Gatorade's the best flavor.
Red's better than fucking yellow.
Okay. And no, if I'm a pro athlete, which I'm not, but if I were.
I'm only drinking fucking lemon lime Gatorade.
It's either lemon lime or blue.
What? That's so random.
No, it's not.
What does that
Red's
mean?
Red's the way to go.
What does it mean if you're a pro athlete? So like your consumption of Gatorade flavors would vary based on your success.
Like they're all, it's all the
career?
same though. Just because like it's different flavors, like the effect is the same, right? Am I crazy? Or are they different? Every flavor.
They're all different. They
they're
all
different.
taste different.
Yeah.
Well, they taste different, but like the effect's the same, right? Like it's the same nutrients and all that. Okay.
Yeah. It's not like one's healthier.
I figured. I was just wondering.
I'm sure the red Gatorade has the red 40 in it.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, they all have like food coloring that are probably going to fucking turn your insides into pulp by the time you're 72, but it's neither here nor there.
Yeah, hopefully we get a better Super Bowl matchup next year. I mean, this one, it's like the Eagles had already been there 2 of the last 7. The Chiefs, this is like their 5th one fifth one the last like 6 years. So hopefully get some fresh blood. Maybe Chicago Bears.
I don't give a
Chicago
shit
Bears next year, right? Nah.
I don't give a shit about parity like so many people do. Like, I want to see the best play the best in the biggest games.
Yeah, and the Chiefs finally, the Mickey Mouse Chiefs finally got exposed.
That's true.
We'll have to help with those zebras there.
That's true. But something tells me this is not going to be Patrick Mahomes' last Super Bowl.
Yeah. What do you think, though, about the GOAT debate now? Like, it's going to be a lot tougher to catch up to Brady's 7 now.
Well, yeah, you can't argue it now.
But he's still so young.
Yeah, if he gets like 2 more, it's like you can start having that conversation for sure. But it definitely puts that conversation to a halt for now, especially the fact that they got beaten up and he threw 2 picks. Like, it wasn't good for his legacy for sure.
Yeah. I wonder what Drake was thinking watching that halftime show. He must have been in shambles seeing that.
I don't know.
You're
Maybe
talking
not.
to 2 Drake fans here.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't in shambles because that shit was mid as fuck. And I know
it was.
Like,
I will admit that.
People on Twitter were like saying how powerful it was, and like it was cool, I guess, from that standpoint. But like he didn't play any of the bangers. He only played his shit from the past couple years. Like, come on.
I know. Yeah, I would have liked to see some like more vintage Kendrick Lamar in there, but it's tough when you have to fit in like the 15-minute segments. Like, of course, you're going to go for more recent stuff, and you knew Not Like Us was going to be in there. TV Off was a good one to end it off there, to be fair. But I think when he said TV Off, I'm sure like the NFL guys were like, no, don't turn the TVs off. We got to keep the ratings going for this 24-0 game. So that was kind of funny. But Sam L. Jackson was the highlight. I think the Uncle Sam uni
cool
that went hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was about it. There wasn't really a surprise too. Like, normally there's like a surprise guest. Maybe there was. I think maybe Serena Williams or something showed up, but no one's like a surprise. Like
Serena Williams.
Yeah, you didn't see her?
No, I didn't.
She was in the halftime show.
Oh. Well, I thought he was talking about SZA and was like Serena Williams.
Serena
No, like we knew that was coming, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I've seen better. I've seen worse. Side note, I don't know if I saw a single white person in that performance.
I mean, that's pretty cool. They, they're mixing it up, doing something.
Yeah.
I think that was like the best part about it was like Kendrick was trying to do something like that, which is cool. But I just didn't like the music choice. I just thought was mid from his standpoint. But
How do you not get Lil Wayne to be the halftime
Oh, yeah.
show in his hometown?
yeah,
It should have been him.
That would have been
Yeah.
elite, yeah, with the Don in attendance too, yeah, but missed opportunity there.
All right. And that's Super Bowl talk from Chicago Hockey Radio.
CHR.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Well, there's some Hawks games that happened this weekend too. I have no idea, guys.
Okay, so I know we're going to do Four Nations talk here in the NHL hour, but I do want to get one thing out of the way here. So Sidney Crosby was announced to be playing in the Four Nations. I just want to get ahead of this.
Yeah, fair enough.
We're gonna have
Tassos.
we're gonna have a larger discussion about like the practices and the lines and everything getting underway today in Montreal. But so I did have a source that is a very reputable one when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins contact me and say Sidney Crosby is out 4 to 6 weeks and is not playing in the Four Nations face-off. Okay. That source obviously, is not true, or it ended up not being true. The report ended up not being true because Sidney Crosby is in for the Four Nations face-off. However, that does not discount the fact.
To be fair,
To be fair, it does not discount the fact that Sidney Crosby is going to be playing at this event injured. Like
Yes.
that,
Probably not gonna be shooting a lot that wrist injury. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
he's not. And, so is my source a fluff? Maybe a little bit. He's a friend of mine, so I'm allowed to call him a fluff. But, yeah, I just wanted to get ahead of that, I was wrong. I did go out on a limb. Look, it's Sidney Crosby. Like, he wanted to play at this event probably more than anything when you consider how sad sack and pathetic the Pittsburgh Penguins are. This is your only opportunity to resemble anything markedly similar to competitiveness, right?
Want to experience some winning hockey again. It's been a while.
Yeah. So to think that he was going to miss out on this because...
And he's the captain too.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this was not going to be something that he missed out on. So, do I look like a bit of a fluff for saying that Sidney Crosby is going to be out for the Four Nations?
yeah.
A bit, yeah. But
It happens.
I had a really good source, and frankly, if I was right, would have been the first people on that. So I stand by what I said, and he's hurt. It's not like Sidney Crosby is going to be playing at 100%. I don't even know if
Maybe
he's
that's what he meant. Maybe like you didn't mean out 4 to 6 weeks. Maybe just playing injured 4 to 6 weeks to give you the benefit of the doubt there.
Chat. Do we forgive Tassos? I think we forgive Tassos.
I forgive him.
Let us know in chat, but I think we do.
Yeah, no, I wanted to get ahead of that before we did Hawks talk because, I definitely fluffed that one, and that's the breaking news right now. Sidney Crosby's in for Four Nations, but you don't have Mark Scheifele on standby if it's not a chance that he's not going to play. So
Yeah, I know they're saying he's in for Wednesday, but it's like that could change depending on how that game goes, how he's feeling. They could make a change there. We'll see.
Yeah, but he will be playing hurt. So all right,
Chat forgives you, by the way.
okay, good.
Hey, like Canada, like I'm sure they're happy to have him there. Is like as much just for what he brings on the ice as off the ice, just in terms of being that presence. Like you look at his record in national playoff, Canada's hardly ever lost of him there, so that's definitely a big boon for them for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So yes, the Hawks did play on the weekend. They played Friday, Saturday. Really impressive win on Friday. Not so impressive loss on Saturday. We live streamed that game.
Kind of an impressive loss.
I mean, as far as losses go, like that's the way you want to lose, if that makes sense. Like it was a very entertaining back and forth game. Like I will take a high scoring, lost in an extra time versus that blowout games like Florida last week, any day of the week. So I thought that those two games are good ways to kind of leave off heading into this 2-week break here. Thought they gave it everything. They definitely played like they were going to be on vacation these next couple of weeks. That was some good things to take away, and now time to reset for sure. Yeah.
That shootout was like the most I guess hyped up I've been for a sporting event in a long time. Like I mean, you guys fucking saw it if you were watching the stream or if you've gone back and watched the stream.
The chat
since.
was bumping during that live stream.
Yeah.
There must have been 30, 40 people in there.
Yeah.
And if only they could have finished the deal there, that would have been a lot of viral clips in there potentially, but it didn't quite happen. Definitely the most exciting shootout in a long time, I would say. I mean, normally it's not my thing, but that was, as far as shootouts go, that's as good as it gets. Yeah.
everybody missing. It's as good as it gets. That is
It was a goalie battle. It was a goalie battle. I do feel bad for Soda. I mean, it kind of sums up his season. Like he's just gives it everything he's got, and we're just not able to finish the deal for him. I definitely felt for him. I think the team definitely owed him a nice steak dinner there in St. Louis. Hopefully they gave him that.
yeah.
A nice steak dinner in St. Louis. That's an oxymoron, dude.
No, it's not.
No,
I'm sure
I'm
they
just-
got good restaurants.
Yeah, no.
It
no.
was
Yeah,
a
I
good
mean
joke. It
Chicago.
was a good
Chicago
joke.
has better food. Maybe wait to get back to Chicago for that. Go to Gibson Steakhouse.
Yeah, true
Or a
that.
Vec.
Yeah, that's right.
So some other news and notes here. Do we want? Let's do some clips actually.
Yeah, sure.
Where do you want to hear first? You want to hear from the coach first on the loss to the Blues?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear from Anders.
How do you hope that the group uses this break?
Yeah, I mean, overall, get some family time, get some time in the sun if that's what you're doing, but reboot a little bit, and then let's get back to work here. And again, I think as ugly as the second period was today, we found a way to get a point out of this, and obviously we wanted two, but there's positives there, and our last stretch here has been against some really good teams have been good, so we got to build off of that, and then we got to get better.
Outside of the Christmas break, it's been kind of go since you've been hired, and you haven't really had a chance to have consecutive practices. Do you guys coming out of the break, do you see this as an opportunity to, I guess, implement or anything, or at least maybe have like a mini training camp?
Yeah, we'll definitely evaluate that, and I think there's some things that we can tweak and help. And then we'll have three practices here before the next game, so and only Table would be missing at this point. So it'll be good to kind of get back to ground zero, so to speak, but also like add some things. And then I think along the way, the guys have been really good at things that we've tried to adjust. So that's been really positive. But yeah, some twinkles in the system here.
Some twinkles in the system.
Twinkles, not tweaks. Twinkles. What does that mean?
I think you meant to say tweaks in the system, but it came out twinkles.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star. That's
yeah,
Bond hockey, baby.
That's Sorensen.
Well, so they will be booting up practices. Like practices will
good.
ramp up next week, and I think practices will probably start next Tuesday or Wednesday, and they'll have like.
So
you
it's
said,
more
3
like a
days of
1 week
practice.
vacation, not a 2 week vacation. I was wrong about that. Yeah, I would hope that they'd be spending at least a good portion of this break, kind of working on things, adjustments to the systems, whatnot. This is the last thing this team needs. I think a week's enough. They don't need 2 weeks off. Most of the time, it is a week off for the All-Star stuff anyway, so that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think a break is going to do wonders for this team a little bit.
Yeah.
That's loser talk.
No,
Well, it is a mental reset. I
I
think that
didn't
this
say
team
they
definitely
need the
needs.
break. I didn't say
Yeah.
they need the break. I just said it's going to bode well for them.
Yeah, I agree.
They don't need it. They're
I just had to give it to you a little bit.
yeah, especially for the guys like Del Mastro was sent down today. I saw in the notes too.
And that's definitely just to get more games in Rockford versus just sitting around and doing nothing. Like I think he's probably going to be back up here to imagine when the break's over. Just speculating.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised that Landon Slaggert wasn't sent down also.
Yeah, no, that's no surprising. I mean, you think get a forward in there too, I guess. Yeah,
Even Nolan Allen, right? Like if he's been
because he's been scratched.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he almost makes more sense than Del Mastro. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
yeah,
Interesting.
but
yeah.
none of those kids really need breaks like that. So they should all go down, keep playing hockey. I think it's more for the veterans. I wouldn't even be surprised if the team looks a little bit different. Maybe a move or two is made. We said on the post game on Saturday that there is no there's no trade freeze here with the Four Nations. You can make trades, you can call up players, you can send down players on waivers. Roster moves are still able to be made. So I don't know. I don't know what.
Yeah,
you
you
guys
think the
maybe,
GMs
but-
want to treat this as a break, even though it is. It's like I would imagine KD will be working the phones, and I wouldn't be surprised if, like you said, the Hawks roster looks a little different in 2 weeks. Maybe one of those guys is gone. I mean, obviously Ryan Donato had some big performances with a lot of scouts in attendance the last few games this past weekend, so his value is as high now as it probably will ever be. So I imagine you'll get a few calls about him. I know there's been a lot of teams interested in Seth Jones and some other guys like Connor Murphy as well. So you think there'd be at least a move or two that happens in the next 2 weeks because, I mean, as we know, the trade deadline, there's not a lot that tends to happen trade deadline day. They all happens well before these days. So, I mean, I would imagine wouldn't be nothing that happens the next 2 weeks, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope for the sake of the show that like some moves happen.
Something happens.
Just so we have something to talk about
Yeah.
besides the Four Nations these next few weeks, right?
Yeah, I would love to have things to complain about over the next couple weeks. So
Complain about it. I want something to hype up.
Hawks Hour is going to turn into Teuvo Teravainen talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's the only Hawks
I
guy
thought he
we have
played
to
well.
watch here in the Four Nations. Yeah, we'll be giving a game-by-game, shift-by-shift analysis of Teuvo Teravainen and the Four Nations for Finland. I'm sure we're all very amped up for that, right?
No. No.
No, no. It is kind of, it does, I will say, it does take, I am excited for this tournament, but man, it sucks that Connor Bedard isn't there, dude. God damn. Like, you tell me he couldn't be there, I don't know. Like, Hockey Canada fumbled the bag on that one, but, that's nothing new there for them.
But the thing is like Connor Bedard isn't really a fourth line kind of player, right?
Yeah, I'm not saying you have to play him fourth line, but you could move on the wing maybe.
Yeah,
if,
but you're not
like, in the
taking
top
Sam
six.
Reinhart out of the
Yeah,
top
yeah.
6 for Connor Bedard.
Yeah, I guess. I'm obviously being biased, but yeah, I just always assumed he'd be at this tournament. But I think he's played well enough these last 2 months since the initial roster to warrant consideration. But it was with Crosby, obviously, playing, and Scheifele's obviously. I understand having him as standby over Bedard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. I see a guy like Seth Jarvis, right? And he just dominated the game against Utah on Saturday. Has really grown. Like, that's my pick, and I think I'm not the only one here that is picking Seth Jarvis to be like the breakout player of this event, right? So yeah, I don't know. Maybe Connor Bedard could have been that, right? But I don't know. I think they're saving him for the Olympics.
You could argue though that like this break could be actually a better thing for him, because I would look back at last year, like breaking his jaw sucked, but I do think like that time spent away from the game, just kind of practicing and working on things, I think kind of improved his game. And he comes back after a month and he just completely tears it up the rest of the season. These 2 weeks off for him could be a nice reset for him, and hopefully he could kind of dominate the rest of the season. I mean, he's already been playing fine the last month, more than fine, I think, but it could be a good thing for him, honestly. Yeah.
Do you think he's going to be watching the games?
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean,
What else
if I were
is he
him,
gonna do?
hopefully use as motivation too. I'm sure he would prefer to be there. I mean, we know Bedard, he doesn't like going a long time without playing hockey, so I'm sure he'll get his ice time in there as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's fair too. I hear that. If I were him, I would take a few days, go down to Florida, go down to Arizona. I don't know. Is he a big golf guy? Is he a big golfer?
I don't know, honestly. I just don't think that's Connor Bedard. Like, I think there are a lot of guys in the Hawks team who are dying for this break. They'll probably be on the beaches and this next week or so, but I don't think he's one of them. I don't think he's going to take much time off here. I'm sure he's right back in the grind right now as we're recording this episode.
He's going to go back to cold, miserable Vancouver.
It wouldn't shock me. Yeah.
Where everybody's unhappy.
But there's something to be said for this. Like, for this break, like, how do players come back for, right? Is there rust? Like, does it benefit some over others? Like, be curious to see like what people do these next 2 weeks and how this team looks different, if anything, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to hear the next clip?
Yeah.
Teravainen on the Four Nations face-off?
Yeah. Our Hawks rep.
To go to the tournament now, is this kind of a change in mindset, or just kind of unique for you jumping on another team now?
Yeah, it's cool. Gonna be great to see the Finns there, play with them. There's a lot of great Finns I know, but I never played with, so it's gonna be cool to see them in action, and also play against the best. So it's gonna be great.
You've produced quite a bit the last week here. Do you feel pretty good, I guess, going into a tournament like that, best on best?
Yeah, I feel like body feels good, confidence feels pretty good. So. I just gotta play my game, or whatever role it will be. So I feel like I can pretty much do everything. So I feel pretty good.
That's cool that he feels like, he's kind of giving the nod, like, yeah, I'll do anything. I'll play wherever they need me. And to that reporter's point, he has been kind of on fire recently.
He really has very quietly been producing. I look at his production this year, like, it's been good. He has like 40 points in 57 games, like, or 455. Like, I would say he's kind of accomplished, I'd say, what KD envisioned, I'd imagine, when he brought him in. And he's done that playing a lot of middle six time too, in the second, third lines and shutdown situations. So I'd say he's probably been a very solid producer for the Hawks. I think 60-point pace is probably what they imagined for him when they brought him on. So that's been nice. It's been nice to see for sure.
Yeah, as far as all the bad free agent additions,
he was not one of them.
He was not one of the bad ones. So
he's done his job for sure. Yeah. I wonder if he'll play with his buddy Sebastian Aho over there in the Four Nations. They play together a lot in Carolina. I'd be curious to see they probably use him more in a kind of a defensive shutdown, second, third line role. Probably not your top line producer, but we'll see what happens there. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. The only thing is like, and you mentioned this too, and so Quinn Hughes will be missing the Four Nations face-off.
That's a big blow.
And yeah, it is a big blow for the United States. We can talk more about that in the NHL hour. But Jake Sanderson was named as the replacement. And you actually brought up an interesting point too, that maybe Seth Jones should have gotten a little bit of consideration for that spot.
No, I'm not joking. Like, you look at his production, like the last month, the 2025 portion of the season, he's up there. I think he's top 4 in production amongst defensemen, up there with guys like Quinn Hughes. So I thought, and he's played the U.S. a ton on the international stage. He was there in the World Championships last year as well. So can eat up minutes. I mean, he can kind of play on both ends there. So I'm a little surprised. Man, I know Sanderson's got a bright future. Maybe somebody want to kind of, chug along here and just kind of get these reps in. But I think right now, I think Seth Jones would be the guy I pick, which maybe I'm being biased there, but I think his play the last little bit has warranted it, to be honest. Yeah. Plus you could pair him with Zach Werenski. Those two obviously played very well together in Columbus, so there's a connection there. So he's been around, been there, done that experience. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe even Alex Vlasic. I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe. I mean,
I hear you, but I don't know. From a Team USA standpoint, I'm not complaining about it just because I don't know. Like, if Jones wasn't involved in this one, he's probably not going to be involved in the Olympics next year, and like Sanderson might be. So
that's probably what I think the thought process is, right? I think a tryout for the Olympics next year.
Yeah.
So I don't hate it from that perspective.
Yeah, I'm just, I'm trying to, squeeze out as many Hawks that could have potentially gone to this thing as possible. The only other one was like Arvid Soderblom maybe being an injury replacement for.
I thought for sure he'd be the replacement for Earson there. Maybe not for sure, but like the way he's played this year, you're telling me that who is the replacement they named again?
It is Sam Ersson.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, for Earson.
Ersson was the replacement for Markstrom.
Sorry, that's right. And I think you look at their season, Soderblom's had the far more impressive season than Earson. So I don't know about that one. But I mean, I guess maybe he's just not as proven, and it is kind of a one-year thing where it's like you look at last year, maybe they just don't have that confidence in him. But if you've been watching Hawks games, Soderblom's been locked in this year on a really bad team.
It would have been awesome to see Soderblom play in like behind a very competent team and just see what he could do.
And just what a nice story that would have been, just a turnaround from one year to the next. But I think he's not really. Like, Hawks fans know like the season he's had, but I still think he's kind of flown under the radar league wide, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they probably just didn't think about him from that standpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been fun. All right.
Do you think somebody like Ryan Donato could have been there in a fourth line role?
No.
I mean, if you're going to have Chris Kreider there and Trocheck, the seasons they've had, I mean, this production the last little bit.
No.
Maybe I'm off my hinges there, but I don't know. Yeah.
Ryan Donato doesn't make the USA B team.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
not.
no, yeah, I know. I'm just saying, like in a fourth line situation, maybe.
I still think you're going to go with like a guy like Kreider just because he's,
He's a
Kreider?
50 goal scorer.
But also, he's like regularly throughout like his whole career. Well, but his whole career, he's played against all the top lines around the NHL. Like, he's used to playing the very best. Whereas like Donato's normally, I know he's been playing on our first line, but he's normally a bottom six guy. So.
Yeah, all right. I was just throwing it out there.
There's
not a
much there, pal.
We agree. There's not a lot of Hawks on this team who are deserving of being there. So it's like, I don't know. It's hard
look, Justin, I think we should resign him, but I don't know about.
I think you're crazy, dude.
I don't know about Four Nations.
Oh, do you think that? No, I don't even fully believe that. I was just throwing it out there, just like, I don't know. Anyway,
just to add something. No, I mean
just to get chat riled
resign
up.
Ryan Donato.
There we go.
It depends upon what the return is. If it's like a late third rounder or
worse,
then I'd rather resign him. I don't care. Like, if we go out and get a big fish, if we're able to bring in Mikko Rantanen this offseason, we're going to be talking about making the playoffs next year. That's going to be the goal. It might not happen, but that would be the goal.
You want to be in the race. You want to be in the mix. I still don't know if we
having Ryan Donato next year is going to be better than not having him and drafting a late third round, early fourth round pick.
And how much like third round picks do we have? Like, if it's not at least a second, like, I'm not making the deal. I don't want another Taylor Hall type of return here. We knew Hall wasn't in the cards for the future, so I'm not complaining about that one. I think that was the right move. But Donato, I mean, he's 28 years old. He's in his prime. Is he going to kind of have this type of production moving forward?
Nope.
Probably not. This is probably as good as he's going to play, and his value is probably not going to be higher. But it's like, how many freaking like mid round picks do we have? Like, what does adding yet another one to Arsenal really accomplish. I don't
It's
know.
all
There's an
about your
argument there.
ability to use those picks to trade up, right? Like trading up is almost a skill that is required on the draft floor or something that you do even, there's nothing stopping Kyle Davidson from using a couple of third rounders to acquire another second rounder right now. Now, the NHL isn't as volatile with their draft picks as, let's say, maybe the NBA, right? NHL teams tend to value draft picks more than NBA teams do, but you can still move up. Like there are GMs in the National Hockey League, like Kyle Dubas is one, that if he, like you have quantity and then you have quality, right? And sometimes you really believe in your scouting staff. Like that was a big thing that's a big thing that Kyle Dubas believes in, right? If he has the opportunity to trade down and get multiple draft picks for moving down 10 slots or moving, down 15 slots, like he does that, right? So you got to find the GM partners that are willing to do something like that, and you give them your bounty of third round picks and fourth round picks, and you move up, right? Like that's kind of how it works, I think. No, I don't think you should sell on Ryan Donato for a third round pick. Ideally, and maybe if the only available return for Ryan Donato is a third round pick right now, that probably speaks more to where the market is at, right? But I just, I don't know who else is available really on the trade, like who are some of the prime trade deadline acquisitions we've floated around.
I think the biggest ones are kind of already been dealt. Yeah.
Yeah. Brock Nelson is still out there. I've heard quite a few teams are interested in Brock Nelson. Braden Shen has been rumored to be available, but that's not like a pending UFA. That's some guy with like term left on his contract. Yanni Gord is a pending UFA, but he just underwent surgery too. I don't know who else really that is like out there. So you should be able to create a bidding war for Ryan Donato between interested parties like the Oilers, the Maple Leafs, the Jets, the Bruins, maybe even Avs if they want him. But I don't know that the Avs have a ton of second round draft capital. But you get what I'm saying here. Like you should be able to with the amount of.
Well, they just got a couple in the Rantanen trade.
Yeah, fair enough.
And I will say this too: like a lot of this is
okay.
A lot of this is recency bias, right? If you had told us before the season started, oh my God, the trade deadline, you get a second round pick for Ryan Donato, like we'd be jumping all over that, like throwing a parade in the streets. But now it's like there's this thought process the way it's played where it's like you kind of want guys who are in that age range, like who want to be here as well. Like there's a lot of August on this team who provide absolutely nothing of value on and off the ice. Like we don't want those guys. But then you have to see a guy like Donato, just the way he plays. Like there's argument from that standpoint. Like a guy like that isn't it's not a bad thing to keep around for a bit. But like the production could also tail off. I mean, I look at someone like Dickinson and Mrazek. I mean, we kind of signed on those extensions, and their games compared to last year kind of fell off. So the same could happen to Donato. So yeah.
I was told that I was a crazy man a few months ago for saying that the Blackhawks could maybe get a second for Ryan Donato.
Yeah, I mean, now I don't think it's crazy now. I mean, yeah, it's 19 goals, 18 assists, 53 games. And if they got third for Hall, I think a second for Donato isn't unrealistic at all. If you look at his contract situation, his age, just like the fact that, again, the Hawks are one of the only teams that are for sure selling. So just the market, there's not a lot of other guys available. Like there's a lot of teams that clearly are interested in him, and a lot of scouts have been watching him. Like you would think that the Hawks could get something decent for him. Yeah.
They should be able to, man. Honestly.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any chance Connor Murphy's shipped out the door by the time we return from this break?
Yeah, I know he's been thrown out there, but like he just got back from injury. I hope so. Like I really, really hope so. But like, do I think it happens? Probably not.
It'd be nice, but who's gonna be a taker there? It's just like he's fresh off of an injury. There's like a lot of question marks. Like he hasn't looked great. I just don't know like why you'd want him now, but I don't know. There's always teams that like feel like, if that's your sixth defenseman, I guess maybe it kind of makes sense. But
he was playing some good hockey before the injury, but that was like 2 months ago. Yeah.
I also think we'd have to retain if we were to move him.
4.4
hit.
season.
Yeah, like he's like a good third pair guy from that standpoint. Like he'll block shots, can eat up minutes. So I can understand why a team in that position would want him. But for the contract, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. His play hasn't really been, since returning from injury, hasn't really been the same. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Do we want to just play out the last clip? It's Nick Foligno on some inconsistency. You want to hear that one?
Yeah, sure. Let's hear it.
With this break, do you sort of see this as an opportunity to reset?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost have a mini training camp.
I think this has been a taxing year on everybody. I think we're all looking forward to the break where we can just reset our minds and maybe a little fresh start coming back here, and understanding though it's not going to get easier. Right now we got teams pushing for playoffs. So don't come back thinking it's a fresh start and I can just go back to old habits. It's growing and understanding we're going to have to work when we get back day one, and Anders, I'm sure, will have us ready to go.
Yeah, he's pumped for it.
Captain Unk is really looking forward to this vacation, but I think less for these guys. I think that this 2-week break is better for us, man. I think we could all use a 2-week mental health break from this team.
Yeah, especially the way that game Saturday went.
Yeah, it must
Yeah,
be
well,
really-
the Friday one was great though, but the Saturday one I feel like kind of sums up the season. Like where it's like even when we play well, it's never for like the entire game. It's always for segments and just like get built up by Soderblom and is now able to finish the deal for him and just like getting edged like that. How many games have we seen like that this season? But yeah.
must be really tough for Foligno making $4.5 million a year to, skate around with your head down and just, fly into guys.
I will say about Nick Foligno is he does always say the right things. Like
I think he's good for the locker room. I do
Yeah,
think he's a good captain. He's done his job there, so I don't really have anything bad to say about Nick
he's
Foligno.
as good of a spokesperson that like this Blackhawks team could have possibly gotten for like how bad it is. He's always able to like I don't know.
And like for his age, like his honest play's still been decent. I mean, I think he has 25 points in 54 games. He's good in the PK. Like again, this isn't prime Nick Foligno we're talking about here, but I think compared to most unks on his team, I think he's performed about what you'd expect. Yeah.
Can I share a thought while we're droning on about nothing here?
Yeah, go ahead.
And this may be like a crazy outlandish take for how I'm going to present this. I think the Hawks locker room is broken. We've heard, Lee and I had a conversation with somebody not too long ago that told us, obviously this was in the heat of the Seth Jones stuff, obviously that has been quieted over the last few weeks of his play. I've heard Seth Jones is not a real liked guy in the locker room.
Yeah, I've heard this too.
And we've talked a lot about the fact that the veterans don't show up to optional
It's always the young
morning
guys,
skates.
the optional
It's always
skates,
the
the
young
kids.
kids.
Yep.
It's always the young kids. You have these guys that you're overpaying right now to be quote unquote tone setters that don't go out and do it. We saw a clip before the game of the Blackhawks at the Children's Hospital, right? But I have also heard that community involvement with the team has been significantly down over the last 2 seasons.
Wonder if that's more of a personnel owner management type of thing.
I don't care what
Yeah.
it is, though.
Yeah.
Like, this is hockey. Like, the reason why we do this is because hockey is a beautiful game. It spreads love. It spreads joy. It spreads hope. Chicago's a city that really could use everybody pulling the rope, and I'm talking to the Bulls, I'm talking to the Cubs, I'm talking to the Bears, and I don't.
This is definitely not just a Hawks game. This is a citywide Chicago sports problem, it feels like at the moment. Yeah.
But there's no I don't see Connor Bedard out there, and not just him, but like some of these other guys Connor Bedard is just who the kids want to see, you know what I'm saying? But, we don't see him at a lot of like youth hockey practices or, Chicago has a pretty robust high school hockey scene. There's so much more that could be done. And I don't know if it's a locker room issue, if it is, and maybe they're 2 separate things, right? Maybe this like community involvement stuff I'm talking about is more an organizational flaw.
Yeah, that's why I
It
think maybe
probably
a
is, but still,
Faulkner
it's-
situation. Yeah.
But even still, like the lack of accountability in the locker room for some of these performances we've
I
seen.
think it's a country club atmosphere.
Oh yeah. Like not just a little bit. I think it's a lot right now.
Yeah, because it's like all these veterans that are making contracts that are probably too big, and so they're just getting paid for this mediocrity, and it's just like how are you going to have any sort of accountability in a room like that? It's like it's too
Brace
many-
yourselves. There's no identity.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look, and maybe that's what happens when, you sign a guy, you trade for a guy in Seth Jones, and you give him $9.5 million before he's ever
The
played a game
timing
for your
made no
franchise.
sense, just in terms of like where we're at.
And you're bringing in his brother, and the expectations are high, and he's clearly not able to meet it. And now you've created this almost diva atmosphere. Yeah, I just
Diva is a female version of a hustler.
I don't know the reference.
I don't get it either.
No, somebody will get it.
So
It's true. So.
Sorry to throw you off the game there. I had to put some humor in this kind of
no. I just think that there needs to be a big culture shift change.
I agree.
And we can all sit around here and pretend, oh, Nick Foligno's captain. Look, Nick Foligno's a fine guy. Like
he's a stopgap
he's not the
transitional
problem.
guy till Betsy's ready to pass the torch.
But then what does that even mean? Like, what does that even mean, Justin? Like this is a 19-year-old kid who
I think he could captain this team right now. I said this before we started the season, and a lot of people came after, oh, he's too young, yada, yada. I think this culture change that we're talking about, it's going to go through those young players, this core. The guys are actually going to be around here for the long haul. It's
well,
not
do
going
you
to come
think
through
Connor
these
Bedard
halls.
can look a grown man in the eyes and say, hey, you need to be better?
Yes.
Like, really?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. Yeah. No, I think so.
Because
I
I
think
don't know that quite yet.
I do think he commands that respect, honestly. In the locker room,
with his words or with his actions?
with his actions, I should say.
Okay.
There's a difference there. Yeah, I think with it, I don't know if he's going to be like a rah type of guy, but like the captains aren't always like that. Like Taze was more. It was always more like Seabrook and Keith that were kind of doing that. He was kind of more of a lead by example. I think that's what Bedard is.
But if you have nobody else to be able to do those things, then
Who are the other guys? That's what you're talking about.
Who's
Who are
the
gonna
other
drop that
guys?
ship.
Yeah. No, it's
Maybe-
a fair point.
Yeah, I mean, I look at whenever I hear Swagger talk, I always think that guy's a leader. I
But
always
this
like
is a
what he
guy
has
with
to
like
say.
20 NHL games, Justin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the question. Maybe Vlasic.
I think Ryan Donato could be that if you extend him.
If you
Well, you don't think?
No.
I think he's totally that guy. He's like
Yeah,
a
'cause this-
Harvard
this
guy.
leadership group-
He's pretty. He's talking to
Yeah, those Harvard guys are really known for being super aggressive and grab you by the collar. Like, come on.
How do you like them apples? Yes, they are.
Like this current leadership group does feel like it's not it. Like, I mean, Foligno, the captain, fine, but then Seth Jones with the A, it feels like there's a little bit of a dilemma here where he's like, maybe not that liked in the locker room, etc. Then Connor Murphy has an A too, and it's like whatever. Like it doesn't really do it for me, I guess. Is the
Alex
argument.
Vlasic
It's
could
like,
be that guy.
Yeah, I think
Maybe.
so.
Yes.
Chicago guy too, right? Well liked in the city, so I could see
But
that.
he's still working to find his footing totally in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, it's
Look,
only
I
his
think-
second full season.
Look, I think there is going to be a period over these next couple years where this young core is moving to the forefront of this room. And yeah, there's going to be some times where it's like, is there like a true leader? That's going to be one of the problems, but also that depends upon who we go out and get in free agency and who we sign, I think if we bring in a stud,
Who's a leader, though? You know what I mean? Like, who on hitting the open market is like a leader? Mikko Rantanen is the only one to me that really stands out, which is why, the
I
Hawks
think-
should do everything. And
I
apparently
think-
all reports are that they are
They are
going to
do everything.
They're going to do
Yeah.
everything.
That's
they
the
can.
priority number one. Yeah. Yeah.
But even like,
I do
look,
think another thing, though, is sorry to interrupt you, but I
Yeah.
do think another thing is the coaching change could be big too. Because right now, Sorensen is interim. I don't think he's really commanding the room right now. I think they're more player coaches at the moment. So I do think the coaching change will be a big part of instilling that culture too. I also do hope that whoever the Hawks do hire, I hope he brings in his own staff too, because we've had the same assistant coach rotation the last few coaches now, the last few years. Like I think we need a completely new group here leading this team. Yeah.
I agree with you and look, I'm really high on David Carl being the coach too.
Yeah.
But the transition from college to the NHL is not a small one. That's why it was like Dave
he's young.
Hackstall and Jim Montgomery are the only two dudes to make the jump straight from the NCAA to the NHL. Normally there's a transition period of working in the American Hockey League. And that's where you learn what I'm talking about, the skills of talking to grown men versus kids.
I think some of this is going to naturally happens as your team gets older and they start winning more and they play more games. Like some of that stuff is natural. Like if you look around the league at other teams that are in similar spots as the Blackhawks, they don't have this big, good, older leadership group because they're younger teams.
Yeah, you look good, then turn into the Buffalo Sabres.
No, I know, but those things happen naturally. It's not like the Blackhawks had this in 07. Like the Blackhawks didn't have
Okay,
like.
so tell me, is it happening?
It's been
naturally for
monotonous.
the
It's been the
Sabres?
same situation the last few years.
No, it hasn't happened with the Sabres.
Okay, well they've had the same core for 4 years now. Shouldn't guys
And
like
they're all
Tage-
wussies. And they're all wussies. Yes,
Okay.
you're correct. Yes. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be the exact same thing with the Blackhawks. Like Connor Bedard's temperament, like he just comes off as a guy who's going to command respect, especially if you just think about when he's fucking 22 years old. That's
Yeah,
still
like, a lot's
3
gotta
years
change
away
in 3
from
years.
now. Like,
Yeah. No.
You don't think Bedard's going to be a guy that every single person in the locker room's like, if he says something, we're going to have, yeah, like that's the law. That's what we got to do.
Okay.
Like that's just like the way he comes off.
Well,
Like,
then he's going to need to become a vocal guy in that locker room more so than he probably is right now.
I'm good with putting that pressure on him. I agree with
I
you.
do think that's going to occur when he gets the letter. Maybe right now it doesn't feel like he has to because he doesn't have that letter on his jersey yet. So he feels like that's kind of the vet's job, and then he just kind of does his thing. Maybe, I don't know.
I guess I think it's going nowhere right now, real fast. You know, you look at some of the. You don't think Connor McDavid says anything in the locker room? Like, of course he does.
Of course he does. But
Well, yeah,
Connor
'cause he
McDavid's
is-
been in the league for 10 years.
Yeah.
He was named captain. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's
He was
been
named
saying
captain
stuff.
19 in his second season.
Yeah, and then the Edmonton Oilers only got to the Stanley Cup final for the first time this year. And then it took them fucking 9 years. So, I don't know. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. That's not something I'm...
You look at the Florida like, dude, that's a locker room full of guys that stand up and talk. You know, Barkov, Kachuk, Verhaeghe, Bennett, Ekblad, like all of those guys in my mind, like I can see them, of
course,
stepping up in the room when something is wrong and correcting it immediately.
Yeah, the Florida Panthers are... But the thing is, the Florida Panthers, like, they're like 8 years older than all of our, like, true Blackhawks, you know?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a gradual process over time. Like we ship out these youngs, the young core establish themselves comes in. It's going to take time. But I do think I'm kind of with Lee. I think this is just going to naturally improve over time.
And then you're talking about a 5 to 7 year waiting game.
Well, to win a Stanley Cup, maybe.
No, I'm talking to even have the mental fortitude to be able to think about a Stanley Cup.
You're crazy. I think
I-
that's... I
Really?
think that's
Look at the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah,
Lee.
I was just gonna say this is coming from a Leafs fan. That's
Yeah.
not how it works all
look-
around the NHL.
yeah,
it's
look-
just because you guys have wusses. That's what I'm saying. Like some of these guys that we've drafted, like Connor Bedard. Yeah, he's a smaller, undersized guy, but the kid clearly has balls.
I guess, but
When
you
I look
know,
at guys like Sasha Boisvert, like same thing. Like
kid is 18 years old.
I know, but what is he supposed to do? Just get older? What do you want from him?
I'm just saying you might need to trade for actual leaders and actual men on this team. Like if Alex Tuck is available from the Buffalo Sabres.
Alex Tuck's not moving the needle though.
Yes, he not in the locker room.
You're just I feel like this is such an old head argument coming out of you right now. You need guys that are in that locker room that are just gonna be grinding. It's like, no, we want fucking studs. Like I don't know. Like
Why? So you can lose in the first round like the Leafs?
Patrick Kane was not ever a very vocal presence.
But he
was
had
never
5 other guys on the Hossa, Hjalmarsson, Keith, Seabrook, Taze.
Yes, but in 2006, who were any of those guys?
And plus, like the Rebo's in a totally different situation. Like, they were just coming out of it when they arrived, so the timeline's different.
They
right?
grew into it. All
Yeah.
those guys,
Yeah.
they didn't have to go out. Hossa was the only one of those guys you just mentioned that they had to go out and get. All those guys came up through the Blackhawk system and turned into the leaders that they were.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can happen. You just have to do it. And to your point, the organizational stuff that you were just saying that you're not seeing from the Blackhawks, that's the issue. Is because these guys aren't going to
It's
turn
all an
into
issue.
Yeah, but these guys won't turn into leaders if this culture is like.
Well, they're not going
shattered
to turn
and,
into leaders with Pat Maroon and Nick Foligno either.
Yeah, well, they're going
on
to be.
the
They're going to
team.
be. They're going to. That's kind of the point we're making. Like they're going to be gone soon. Then it's going to be time for the young guys to step up, and that's when we'll see it happen.
But then it's on Kyle Davidson to go out and get not just legitimate stars like hockey players. Like, you know, I've been great on or really high on bringing like, look, if Mikko Rantanen goes to free agency and you actually get him, that's a big get. But if you're left with trying to be the guys trading for or acquiring Mitch Marner if he hits free agency, which is the other big fish that the Hawks are rumored to be in on if he hits the market, or Elias Pettersson. You think Elias Pettersson is a leader?
No.
You need players, and you know, I know that created the rift with JT Miller. You know, JT Miller was trying to be a leader.
Yeah.
Like, and I
And
guess
it must be said, since that Pedersen trade, things have been looking a lot better. They've won like 3 straight. They're back in a playoff spot. Seems like the locker room drama is kind of done over there.
It better. It better. You make $11.5 million a year, Justin. That contract's ridiculous for him. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't sign. I wouldn't sign Elias Pettersson to $11.5 million.
No,
right
no,
now.
I wouldn't. No.
Like,
I'm more interested in Rantanen, man.
you better figure it out. Like, we just traded away JT Miller. They should have kept JT Miller. Right? Like, am I crazy here? Like, am I,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in terms of the locker, maybe, but I still think Pedersen has like the higher ceiling of the two right now, and in the stage of his career too. He's not even in his prime yet, whereas Miller is probably going to be past his prime pretty soon. Yeah.
I just think if you're trying to win a Stanley, we lost Justin. All right. Well, I just think that the Hawks need to get a real leadership group. Oh, look at how that looks with you. It's just an extra Lee right there.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I was not expecting this engaging and fiery of a conversation to be on.
We needed something to spice up the show a little bit here, and I just think it's a problem that we don't address enough. And
I hear your point, but I think like the biggest, as far as big picture goes, the most important point is like the organizational stuff. That like the front office is not really like creating a culture that is necessarily going to breed good leaders as of right now, but they can change that. And I really do think that some of these young kids that we've drafted can like Frank Nazar, I think could grow up. It's hilarious to say.
But you're banking, understand.
Yeah, I do get what you're saying. That,
cool. Then you're going to lose Connor Bedard in a couple of years. Like, not to be like that. Why? Because he's not going to want to. He's going to want to go play for a team that has culture.
He has to be. Connor Bedard has to be the culture. That's the reasonable pressure on Connor Bedard here when it comes to like the Blackhawks going forward is that Connor Bedard has to be that guy. He has to be the captain. He has to be the culture.
That's a lot of expectation. Asking him to be Sidney Crosby.
Good. Don't care. Put it on him. Don't care.
Well, they throw that generational label on him. Then he should be that guy. I think he's fully capable of it too. He's always the first guy on and off after all these practices. I think he's fully capable of being that guy, 100%.
Yeah, but if you look at the Penguins teams that like went to the back-to-back finals the first time they won too, like you had, I'm trying to think of who was on those teams that, you had guys like Brooks Orpik and Marc-Andre Fleury, and he had Gino there. And, I'm actually going to look at some of these Pittsburgh Penguins rosters here. But you know what? I'm just saying that, like, it is enough to go get, like, Noah Dobson is apparently available right now. And I know you guys don't want to hear about another defenseman, but if you're looking to ship Seth Jones out of town, like, go get Noah Dobson. Like, go get Noah Dobson. There's no reason. Like, what, are you going to let him go to the Canucks? Like, I'm just saying that they're like Alex Tuch is a guy I would be all over, and it stinks almost that you like, Brandon Hagel is a guy that left here to go learn how to be that kind of player in Tampa from guys like, Hedman and Stamkos and Point and, even Kucherov to some extent, right?
My whole thing with like the leadership thing still that I'm stuck on is like all these great teams that win cups. They all started with groups of players that were at one point 19, 20, 21 years old that had to grow into those leadership roles. I think it's going to be so much easier to grow into a leadership role when you don't have 34-year-olds making $4 million a year that are like supposedly your leaders. Like once this Blackhawks team is like majority, like 90% young players, it's going to be so much easier for Connor Bedard to be a vocal leader.
Because they're going to be thrust in those positions now. They're going to have to when those guys are gone, right? Somebody's got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the 2008-9 Pittsburgh Penguins roster. You had guys like Brooks Orpik, Rob Scuderi, who is a leader on that team, Pascal Dupuis, Billy Guerin was on the team, Tyler Kennedy, who's a really good leader. I'm just Jordan Stahl, who's currently the captain of his NHL team still. Fellow Greek Mike Zigomanis was on the team. Max Talbot was a really big leader. I'm just saying that, like, and no, I'm not satisfied with the leadership of Pat Maroon. I think Pat Maroon is a joke at this point, and that may be a bit harsh, but like, cool, dude, you won 3 Stanley Cups. Like, now you've come here and contributed less than nothing. And, what are you really truly teaching these guys about like winning the Stanley Cup.
Well, something that I loved, just like hearing those, the Pat Maroon interviews that I've heard, is that he's preaching like you're gonna have to take your licks. It might not work right away, but you gotta like keep your head down and keep working, and that's something that he's been preaching to these young kids like Reichel and stuff. So I'm okay with that. But yes, I mean, yeah, Pat Maroon hasn't really given
on
much
the ice.
on
He's
the
contributed
ice.
nothing,
Yeah.
but yeah, I don't know if it's fair to say he's done nothing off the ice. Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like it a little bit. Like it just seems he's super laid back, super like don't really give a shit, whatever happens kind of deal. Like this team stinks. I've been on really good teams,
But you know who has it though? Nick Foligno. Like he's always showing the passion. You think Bedard isn't learning from somebody like that? You don't think he's having an influence on somebody like that as well? I don't know. I think a lot of guys have been, done well for that aspect though.
I just think if you're in a fractured locker room and you have one guy that you can point to in Nick Foligno, like you better hope that Connor Bedard only hangs out with Nick Foligno.
Honestly, from what I hear, if he's always sitting next to him in the locker rooms and stuff, he's basically been his honorary guardian over there. He spent a lot of time with him and his family and his kids. So I think he is a guy that he's definitely looked at and identified. Okay, that's a guy I need to learn from. If he's a captain now, that's what I want to be for this team. I think he's probably watching him and taking a few things away for sure. Yeah.
I just think the Hawks are more than like you're talking about. Oh, we acquire one guy. You're talking about re-signing Ryan Donato, and if we land Mikko Rantanen or Mitch Marner, we're itching for the playoffs. Okay, do you know what the next step is after getting close to the playoffs or making the playoffs? It's winning.
Yeah.
I
know.
And you put Mikko Rantanen or
But
Mitch
that's
Marner
like
on they get swept in the first round. They get swept in the first round because they just don't have.
I don't know. You're making statements that are like we have no clue what the team looks like this time next year. Like we don't even know who's going to be playing, who's still going to be playing in the OHL, who's going to be in Rockford, who's going to be like I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
It's
I don't
hard
think
to
we
talk
could.
big picture when it's like so many of the parts.
We don't
for
know
us
that
to be
yet.
there. We
Yeah.
don't even like. If we're talking about making the playoffs next year or the year after, we have no clue what that roster even looks like.
But it better be. We're not just getting better players; we're getting better leaders too. Like that needs to play a part in it.
We'll see. I think Connor Bedard will become a leader.
Yeah, I'm not really
Bona
worried about
fide.
that. He's been a leader for pretty much his entire career too. It's going to happen in the NHL too. Yeah.
It's easy to be a leader though when you're.
Imagine if we draft Porter Martone. What if we draft Porter Martone? He's
Cool.
another.
He's 18 years old.
Yes, but
The age doesn't. He can still be a leader. It's a teenager. They don't have to be an old guy at Unk to be able to.
Also,
I'm not saying that, but you have to have the moxie to
Tassos,
be the leader.
If we win a Stanley Cup, it's going to be off of the backs of players that we have in this organization right now that are currently 18, 19, 20, 21 years old.
That's not entirely true.
Okay, then maybe we're going to pull full Florida Panthers.
Did they draft Marian Hossa?
After spending all this time the past 3 years drafting players, now we're
They
going to decide
drafted
that we're
Keefe.
going
They
to
drafted
trade all of
Seabrook.
them.
They drafted Tays. Pretty much all the leaders in those teams they brought on except for Hossa. He was like the exception. So I think most of them are already here. And yeah, yes, you will need a couple of supplements there as well. But that's where Rantanen comes into play. He could be that Hossa. Yeah.
Yeah. I just think there were other guys like deeper down the lineup of those Hawks teams that maybe we're forgetting about now, like the John Maddens on the 2010 team.
Guys that are brought in, but that's not hard to like. It's not hard to acquire guys like that.
I don't know.
It's not hard.
It's hard to pick the right guys to acquire for those roles.
Yeah, but that's not a thing that we need to be stressing about now. That's a couple years down the line once we're a competitive thing to be like we need to be bringing in the right personnel.
Look how long it took the Edmonton Oilers.
I'm sorry, dude. Right now, I am not worried about bringing in good veteran bottom six. We just tried.
Yeah, that
to do
worked out
this
great
season,
this
and it
year,
worked
right?
Horribly. I don't give a fuck about bringing in leaders. I want these young kids to get better and evolve their games. That's all I care about. I don't give a shit about veteran leadership right now.
I would want them learning. I would want them learning from people that
like Alec Martinez and TJ Brody who have been there and done it.
Not TJ Brody. Martinez is a good leader, probably.
It's
I don't
funny,
know what he's like in the locker room, but that's a guy that ideally should be somebody that isn't just, and it's probably hard when the team sucks too that Pat Maroon totally to me just looks like he's floating through it and just like going through the motions a little bit. Martinez harder to get a read on a bit, but I don't know.
I mean, I know we've had this discussion before, but like it does, I think it bears repeating for this entire conversation we've had. We did have a guy who's been here, done that, in this Hawks team, 3 cups and could have brought him back and maybe could have been that guy for us, but no, I guess not.
How many times did the Hawks make the playoffs before they won the Stanley Cup in 2010?
Once.
Wasn't it once?
Yeah,
Or
once in
twice?
08, 09. Yeah, they just missed out in 07, 08. They made it to the conference final in 08, 09, then they won the cup in 2010.
Yep.
Yeah.
It happened quick.
Yeah. Which there's no guarantee that's going to happen again because, you do look at teams like the Oilers and Leafs, it takes time. But, yeah, it's different every time for each team.
I just 08, 09, they made the playoffs and they made the conference final, didn't
Yeah,
they?
they lost to Detroit.
Brian Campbell, Nick Jalmerson, Brent Sopel, even Lee's biggest Twitter beef right now. Marty Havlat, veteran. Jack Skilly, Good Morning Hockey guest.
Young.
Yeah. I'm just,
was
Craig,
a young
Craig
core.
Adams.
That was a pretty young team. Like there were vets there, but yeah.
They had
Yeah.
Sammy Paulson on the team. They had Craig
Andrew
Adams.
Ladd.
They had, Andrew Ladd was younger
was
then,
younger.
though. Brian Campbell wasn't as young. They had Nikolai Habibulin. They had Cristobal Huey. I'm just saying that there were Christopher Stieg.
Yeah, Hobby Bulin and Huey were out of the picture come 2010.
Yeah, but those guys laid the foundation. I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. I'm not attributing the 2010, 13, 15 cups to veteran leaders in 08, 09. I'm attributing those to Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane and
Marion
Duncan Keith
Hossa,
and
Brett Seabrook, and Duncan Keith, who all came through the system like that. Yeah.
Who all came
Yeah.
through the system and became leaders at the ages of 23, 24 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Taze was like 20 years old than that captain, around 21. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you if I don't think that the Hawks need a real, true locker room shift. Like, if you think that this locker
that's fair.
room,
Yeah.
if you think that this locker room is close to that of a Stanley Cup winner, you're
No,
Like it's going to
way
change
off.
though. Like it's
No.
going to change drastically. Like that, we know that.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that at all because this locker room is still
We're not
only
there
like
yet,
half
yeah.
made of players that we've drafted.
Yeah, we're not in the same position right now either. Like this is like 05, 06, in those terms.
Okay, then you're talking about being 5 years away from really competing for the Stanley Cup.
It's
That's
so hard to put shit on a timeline. Because what if all these players come together in the next year or two, and it's like,
And
oh my
then
gosh,
they'll get bounced in the first round because they have no leaders.
that's cap, dude. That's cap.
Okay, all right,
We'll see. We will see.
all right. You guys want to take a break?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna hit a quick break. We'll come back with some Four Nations talk.
And we got a good game to play in the NHL.
Yes, we were playing a game.
Uh-oh.
We came up with a game for us.
Yes.
We will
Here
be
we
doing
go.
that at the end of the show.
All right.
Welcome back. NHL Hour, Chicago Hockey Radio. Lee Grossman, Tassos Kirkos. Whoa,
You're right there.
whoa.
What's my name?
Tassos Kirkos
Please don't.
and Justin Lynch. All back.
Right.
Talk some Four Nations. Play a fun little guess that. What team? What should we call that game? What team is he on? I don't know.
It's just like random players or something.
Yeah, it's random players, and you guys have to guess the team that the random player plays on in the NHL.
Oh boy!
But like, I want to get like a nice like SpongeBob heading, and so like I want a name for the game. But I guess I maybe should have thought about that an hour ago. But that's going to be the game we play in a little bit here. We want to do some Four Nations stuff though to start.
Yeah, I got some first practices, right, for USA Canada, first look at lines. So, and yeah, then we obviously got the confirmation that we talked about that Crosby's going to be playing and Hughes out. But I don't know. I mean, these Canada lines, dude, this goaltending problem might not be as much of an issue. Look, did you see that power play unit, that first power play unit? McCarr, McDavid, Crosby, Reinhart, like absolutely insane.
Yeah,
McKinnon.
that's pretty good.
Yeah, not too shabby, right?
A little surprised that Braden Point isn't on the first power play unit instead of Sam Reinhart, but I do get it. I think it's always spicy with this international competition stuff. You remember like Marty St. Louis being left off of Team Canada by Steve Yzerman and then requesting a trade right after that. Do you guys remember that? So, it's just sometimes these create like bitter feelings amongst guys. Not saying that like being on the first power play versus the second power play unit, when you look at those names, like I'm sure Braden Point gets it because he's a good leader. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not trying to do that right now again. But,
Oh gosh.
but yeah, no.
I don't know, guys. Team USA, Austin Matthews, not a proven winner in the playoffs. Captain, meanwhile, look at Team Canada, Sidney Crosby, been there, done that to see. I don't know. I think Team Canada might be favorites here.
I think, and I actually said this to you guys a little bit before we got started. Look, if we want to do Canada first, their goaltending is a problem.
Oh yeah, it sucks.
Like,
could have had Thompson too.
Like, and if you think that
who's gonna be is Binnington gonna be the starter?
no, it'll be Aiden.
Oh,
Hill.
God.
It'll be Aiden.
Yeah,
Hill.
at least he's a Stanley Cup winner, but
They're both Stanley Cup winners.
Yeah, but Binnington feels like forever ago. He's nowhere close to the goaltender he was back in 2019. We saw that on Saturday when he let 15 goals on 20 shots against the Blackhawks.
5 goals on 20 shots.
15 goals on 20 shots.
15. I meant 15 saves. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh.
Sounds like the game went pretty well.
You think we would have won that game and it won? Yeah, whatever.
But look, I've heard from Canadian hockey analysts that the decisions made between the pipes by Hockey Canada were incredibly political.
Shocker.
You left the 3 best goalies this season off the roster. You left Mackenzie Blackwood, Cam Talbot, Logan Thompson off the roster. You didn't even give Logan Thompson a phone call to say, hey,
because of beef ego. Yeah.
Hey, if somebody gets hurt, like we'll call you. You didn't even do that. Like, Hockey Canada has been criticized in the past for being incredibly political.
Yeah, that's been the case this year, not just in this tournament, but the World Juniors as well.
This is going to rear its head. Like I
the
promise
Olympics,
you, now and at the Olympics.
You know that this like the selection process, the way they like rationalize it, like these political ass decisions was like the roster should be good enough to where it doesn't really matter who we have.
It's not like that anymore.
I know, but I guarantee you that's how they trick themselves into being like, yeah, Logan Thompson is
that's how they justify
he's
it.
a locker room cancer. We shouldn't have him here. Like that's definitely their rationale in their deluded brains.
Well, then Hockey Canada hasn't been paying attention for the last 10 years, and they think that this is going to be like 2014 again, where
thank you, Canada.
Like, nobody touched the puck, and Canada was dominant in 2014. Even in 2010, I know the U.S. gave them a run for it in the gold medal game. 2014 wasn't even close. Like, Canada was by far and away their best player, and if you don't think that this matters to Canadians, not just like the foreign. I'm not talking four nations face off and like being good, but just overall hockey supremacy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's everything to them.
It's
Yeah.
everything to them. You don't think that they're gonna like sit down and watch the USA Canada game or watch these games like good old Canadian boys do and have a few pops and you know
And
what I'm
watch
saying?
my boys
They're definitely the
run
ones who are going to care
over.
the most of this tournament by far. I mean, obviously we'll be into it, but I don't know how much Americans are really going to give a shit about this Four Nations. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's different because like not every American is a hockey fan, right? But a higher percentage of the population in Canada are hockey fans.
It's like a
Way
it's like a religion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you like, I'm just saying, you don't think that like this is gonna matter to them? Like Saturday night,
they'll
Bell
be into
Center,
it.
USA versus Canada, and then if the United States goes in there and runs their show,
Get me fucking hyped up.
Speak
right
it into
now.
existence, please.
I'm just telling you that like
praying
for
for a time like
hockey
that.
though, for hockey that's a problem. Like for hockey, that's
Oh, I
a,
think it's
Canada,
great.
that's
I
a
think it's
problem.
fantastic. USA taking over, baby. It's a long time coming.
I think you guys are missing the big picture here. With some of this stuff, like
It's still in a good place, though. But the roster construction sucks. Hockey Canada, we know, is in disarray. But hockey in Canada, I mean, I
hockey
don't know.
registration in Canada is down. Justin,
Yeah, but it's still Canada. They're still cooking over there. I don't know.
look at the goal. Like look at
Most
some of
players
these
in the league
national
still,
teams.
despite the population discrepancies. Yeah.
They still have the high end, but like the USA is overtaking them in hockey registration amongst population.
So in the
And
long run, they're going to eventually, you think, pass them.
give it another 10 years. Like Hockey Canada is so far
10
behind.
years, we're already there.
No,
I
but
think the U.S.
I'm
is
saying-
already better than Canada.
Yes, but when I'm saying give it another 10 years, like the percentage of Canadians on NHL rosters will go down and the percentage of Americans on
Yes.
NHL rosters will go up.
Yeah, because the population will be.
So
because there's
is
way
this
more people
is
in
this
America.
a bad thing? Question mark.
Yeah, no,
For hockey, yes.
I'm
For
not seeing
hockey,
it.
yes. Okay, hockey is the fourth, maybe the fifth on some days most popular sport in this country.
Well, hopefully that changes then. Yeah, maybe that's a
I'd
thought
like
process.
to see it change. Like, trust me, dude.
Yeah.
We do this podcast.
We
I
all
think-
want it to change.
I think it's a much more entertaining product than basketball. I think it's a much more entertaining product than baseball. But look at the salaries of the players that play in those sports compared to the National Hockey
not
League.
close.
Like the change is like still happening. You know what I mean? Like we're still a ways away. And I know I'm taking this Four Nations discussion, but it's important, right? Because of how Hockey Canada picked this team. Like it is important to hockey that Canada is good at hockey.
Oh, sure, of course.
It is important that we're talking like
I think they always will be though. Like they might be past their prime, but I think they're always going to be a powerhouse. Yeah.
You better hope, because like TV deals is where the Canadian TV deal is worth almost as much as the American TV deal, and that helps.
Yeah, but it's
the salary cap.
The game in America is going to continue to grow. The problem in Canada that I almost see is that like it's like capped out as far as like interest goes. Like it's been the sport in Canada forever, whereas the U.S. has so much.
It's still
much
growing.
growth
There's so much
potential.
untapped
Yeah.
potential, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Canada's kind of exhausted. Like they've reached their peak, and you can't really go any higher than they are
if
right now. They're
Canada
kind of stuck.
plateaus, that's fine.
Yeah.
If the game skyrockets,
You just
in the
don't want
United
to.
States.
You want to stay. You don't want to start going dipping in interest. But I mean, it's Canada. Is that really going to happen?
Look, I mean, soccer's gotten way more popular there. Basketball's gotten way more popular in Canada. Like people are finding, and I don't know if you guys have really been to Canada or really like.
Oh, I've been. Yeah.
I've never
Toronto. I've visited my cousins there a lot. Yeah.
Like
Burlington. Yeah.
the
I've never been
culture. The culture in Canada is very different. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's very like immigrant heavy. Like the people there. America is like, everybody's welcome here, but like it is still a very segregated country in some pockets. It's not like we have segregate, but it's still
Yeah,
like
let's
certain
not
people,
describe Canada as some utopian like.
it is more than here. It is more than
Really?
here.
More of a melting pot than
yes,
here?
absolutely, 1,000%.
Maybe I wasn't. Maybe my eyes were closed when it seemed pretty similar. I don't know.
It's not. You walk around downtown Toronto, you walk around Vancouver, it is not the same. It is absolutely not the same as here. I'm just saying that like you're going to have pockets of Canada, like the prices are going up. Ice time is expensive. People complain about like the GTHL, which is the best youth hockey league in North America. being just like kids don't like. Parents are afraid to put their kids in the GTHL for how toxic it is. You know, Canada has an enormous problem of people with money buying their kids' ways onto teams.
It's nepotism.
Like,
pay to play.
I'm just telling you that like this is a much bigger issue at play, and it is important for like Canadians to be good at hockey, like, and to be interested in hockey. And I just
And do you think if the U.S. overtakes it, then some of that interest might wane a little bit over there?
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Like,
Like not being the biggest superpower could be detrimental from the bad side.
yes, exactly.
Okay,
Like,
I got you.
it is a thing. Like when you're think of it in like, you know, I'm trying to think of like other sports, like Nordic countries are really dominant in like skiing, right? So the skiing culture stays relevant in countries like Norway and Sweden, and you know what I mean? Like some of these other countries. Think of basketball here in the United States. Like, who is ever going to really dethrone the United States for a gold medal at the Olympics, right? You know, but people are so interested in it because they're so dominant. You know, like people get up for it. If the U.S. was like, you know, maybe the third or fourth best odds to win a gold medal at the Olympics for basketball, like, how much do you think people would tune in more? Like, no.
I think so.
I think you're wrong.
I think you're wrong.
I don't. But
You're telling me that if there was, if like Greece or like I don't know, fucking Spain or some country was like actually got on the level where they have like 5. I mean, we already see it where like the Euro team is better than the North America team, right? Like if you think about like for basketball, like Jokic, Giannis, Luka.
But they're not all from the same country.
No, I know. But I'm saying that if it gets to a point where there is a country that has like 5 superstars that are at the top of the game, I think that would be insane. That'd be insane for the sport of basketball. That could really grow it internationally.
Proportionally speaking, though, to population, frankly, the only country that has an opportunity at doing that is Canada with basketball. Yeah, it is. Okay, all right.
I don't have enough basketball knowledge to contribute to this discussion.
I'm not a professor in demography, so I don't know like the populations of all these countries. But
Canada is about 30
that's
million.
Like 40 million, right? Or
30. Yeah. We're at 300 million in the U.S.
Yeah,
Canada's like 40.
Spain population.
So that's what I mean, though.
There's more people in Spain than there is in Canada.
If we take this back to the hockey discussion, though, it's like you don't think any like the untapped potential in USA hockey potentially exploding. Like you don't think that could maybe supplement the slight loss in interest in Canada over time?
Only because, like, what is the peak for hockey? You know what I mean? Like, what is
we don't know.
We don't know what the peak is in the U.S. Like we just always assume it's going to be the fourth.
Is it going to be ever bigger than
what
the
if
NFL?
it isn't though? Like what if it ever gets to a point where it's like competing with baseball, basketball, and NFL? Like right now we're not there, but it's like, dude, if like this growth keeps happening, we overtake Canada. Like you don't think there's a possibility there?
Dude, it's such an exciting game that if just people got into it and like bought into a team and started following it, like it's we all know how good of a sport it is.
But people don't view it as accessible here. Like if you're talking about somebody in like
prices
rural
and shit,
talk about somebody in like rural Alabama or something like that, or like Louisiana or Mississippi or Georgia or some of these places.
But once it does become available,
how are we doing that?
Shit, I don't know. We got to figure it out. Let's figure it out. See,
it's a long process, back. I'm not saying this is going to happen overnight. Like this is like a decades probably process. That's going to happen. It's going to be very slow and gradual, but yeah.
Look, I just think that I just think like the way Hockey Canada has conducted itself over the last 10 years has like set them maybe another 2 decades behind.
Not just on the ice, but they've had a lot of off the ice issues over there too.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you become complacent.
There's a culture shift that needs to happen there. Yeah.
Like they should revamp and I'm not the only one saying this. Like Canadians in Canada feel this way of if you're Hockey Canada, you need to revamp the whole system. The entire, like you need to fire everybody. You need to put in new leadership that like actually kind of knows what they're doing, is thinking about the game progressively. Like I know Canadians that have worked for Hockey Canada that are praying for the demise of Hockey Canada. Like, because they have seen how the sausage is made from the inside and they think it's a joke.
And it looks like USA Hockey, like it's definitely like between the two, the much better run organization at the moment. Look what they're doing
Miles
with
ahead,
with the
Justin.
national team development program. Like it's night and day, night and day. If it keeps them
not
on this
even
trajectory,
close.
skill wise, like they're gonna pass them. It's only a matter of time. Look what's with the college, like the success there too. It's huge. The USHL, it's probably overtaking. You could argue both of them combined have overtaken the CHL,
Yeah.
or in the process at least. Yeah.
You know, the only thing Hockey Canada has like is the Canadian Hockey League. Like that's really the biggest thing where it's like you can still
There's
offer
more options in the US,
for a
yeah.
16-year-old or a 17-year-old elite hockey player. If you want to take that next step, you go to the Canadian Hockey League. Like that is the only thing that Canada really has left in its tank. And even then, like, you know, 80% of the teams in the Canadian Hockey League are pissing away money every year, losing money. Unless you're the London Knights, the Kitchener Rangers, you know, some of these like really big franchises, you're losing money every year, millions of dollars.
Yeah, because like there's the big three there, right? Obviously the OHL, WHL, QMJHL. But then like after that, like I think of the OJHL, the BCHL, but like there's not really much else there in terms of where you go, right? If you're Canadian, like that's where you play the
No,
CHL
there's the
or you
Alberta.
go to the US.
There's the Alberta League.
Yeah,
You know, there's the SJHL in Saskatchewan is a good junior. But we're talking about like junior A and junior B hockey now, though, right?
Yeah, like it's a step like below.
It's a step below. Yeah. But I'm still saying that like Canada still has like that top level, right? Like the US doesn't have like the USHL, like I guess could be competitive with the CHL a little bit, but not really.
Not there yet,
Not
but
yet.
I mean the trajectory, yeah, it could get to that point,
I
especially
think-
with this shift, you know, of more Canadian players coming over, you know, from the CHL to the NCAA and like probably USHL as well, because that tends to be the step before, you know. Like it could
I
definitely
think the
happen.
opposite is going to happen, actually. Like, I think, you know, but this is another discussion, but I think actually players are going to leave the USHL because you used to be able to play in the USHL to stay eligible for the NCAA. And now it's like, oh, wait, like I got drafted into the OHL. Like, yeah, I'm going to go do that instead.
Yeah, okay, I see
Instead
your
of
point there.
Playing for Muskegon, you know?
We'll see.
So I wanted to have that discussion because like the goaltending is going to be a problem for Canada at this event. Like the United States will light up Aiden Hill like a Christmas tree.
Can't wait to see it.
I can't wait.
Yeah, like that's
fucking
we better
getting
see it
antsy.
because that's what everybody keeps saying. It looks like logically that makes sense, but like, what if it doesn't happen? I don't know. Like I would expect anything less than beating Canada like in this tournament. Like it kind of puts this argument a little bit to, and doesn't put it to shreds, but you know it does kind of. I don't know.
Also,
back
no,
a little
this it's just one tournament and it's not really for anything. So you can't be like, oh, you see Canada beat US, so they're better. Or like US beat Canada. Like, it's not. It's too small of a sample size. Like anything can happen in these games. That's why I've made the point about betting on like Sweden or Finland. It's like you're playing. How many games are they playing? 5, 4? They're playing 4 games, right?
Well, they probably play 3 because you want to play each opponent, and then that's when the final games start. 3 prelims and then the finals.
Yeah, so
right?
4
That's how it
games
works.
in total.
Yeah.
Anyone
Or-
can win 4 games, you know?
Thing,
It's like,
yeah. I mean, 4 nations, it would make sense to be 4 games. I don't know for sure if that's the case.
no, it is. It is.
But
It's
apparently-
preliminary, and then it's the final game.
That's just 1 game. So like the 3 games automatically set it. Then there's no like playoff. It's just one.
Yeah, and so I was listening on
sucks.
32 Thoughts too.
Yeah,
that
dude, that's what I've said.
that
about
apparently
this.
like there's gonna be a game next week that means nothing.
Yeah.
Who the hell made this format? Now I'm even less excited for this shit.
Andy Francis has been referring to it as the 4 Nations scam off. So-
It does kind of feel like a gimmicky money grab. That's what this is.
I feel like
Yeah,
this guy
the
just
players will
puts,
probably
like,
all be
scam in
playing
front
under
of things
influence
and
out
you
there.
eat it up
I
like
do.
it's candy.
It is. Well, it is. It is. I mean, kind of a scam off. You know, it's like
How into it do you think these players are going to be? You think they're going to be fully
I'm
there in
worried
these
that
games,
I'm
if you know what I
worried
mean?
that they're not going to be like. Yes, I think USA.
That this
Canada,
get treated this as a
they'll be hyped.
vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there were some roster rules that I wanted to find here, but I just lost it. But apparently the overtime for the 4 nations is 10 minutes long.
10, and they said 3 and 3, 4 and 4. What's the?
I think it's 3-on-3, but it's
10 minutes, 3 and 3,
worth of
then a
one
shootout?
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me look up. Ooh, sorry, I should have been prepared for
4
this before.
Nations rules.
And it's NHL rules. It's not IHF.
Yeah.
right?
Oh, and,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
it is NHL rules,
Yeah.
but you do get there. So, maybe the NHL is like looking at this as an opportunity to try new things.
Experiment. Yeah.
Yeah. So 10-minute 3-on-3 overtime.
I've been saying that they should transition to that.
And teams will get 3 points for a regulation win, 2 points for an overtime shootout win, and 1 point for an overtime shootout loss.
Oh, so they're kind of borrowing some international things there too. Some like a World Junior style tournament. Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. I've been advocating for the NHL to get to that point. Yeah, I don't know. So, all right, what else? Quinn Hughes not going to be eligible, not playing.
Yeah, that's not great news for us, it must be said. I mean, the defense is still pretty good without him. Slavin, Fox, Renski, McAvoy, Hannafin, Faber, Sanderson, but definitely missing a piece there for sure. Doesn't look quite as dominant without Quinn Hughes. So hope that doesn't come back to bite us for sure. That's probably the biggest loss in the tournament for any team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Not the same. Definitely much worse than being without Alex Pietrangelo.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Finland not having Miro Heiskanen, but
yeah, because we need to look at that decor without Miro Heiskanen. It's pretty pathetic. It must be said.
I mean, it's like Esa Lindell and then everybody
bunch of nobodies.
Yep.
Yeah.
They just replaced Rasmus Ristolainen. Apparently needed to be replaced too, so they replaced him with Nicholas Mantanpalo, who is probably on Lee's game of who he played for. But
yeah, I don't even know that. I just learned that guy's name for the first time. I don't even know who that is.
Senators player. He's played like 15 NHL games this year, and that's it. And he's going for Finland, and he's going to play for Finland at the Four Nations. So,
boy,
really great stuff there. NHL.
Oh yeah, here we go. All right, here is Finland's decor: Nico Mikkola, Esa Lindell, Olli Mata, Rasmus Ristolainen, Husso Valimaki. Oh, sorry, yeah, this must be old then. Valimaki, Jokiharju, and then your guy, your favorite, Ukko Vekalainen. Jesus, who was the guy they replaced for
Ristolainen? Nicholas Mantanpalo.
They can still win a game.
This decor.
Well, what if fucking Aho scores 2 goals in the first period, and then it's like,
yeah, what if, right? Yeah.
Can Barkov play defense?
Yes, he can. He'll stand on his head.
Yeah, I mean their forward core is still pretty solid,
it's
and
solid as hell.
Goaltending got Saros in net. I mean, every team probably has a hole, right? Canada has a hole in net. Finland has a hole in the decor. We're the holes for Sweden in the U.S. though. I feel like they're probably
having Erik Karlsson on the roster.
There you go.
Elias Pettersson being your second line.
That's what I'm saying. The U.S. like when I look at these rosters, like have no clear weakness, even without Quinn Hughes. It feels like I don't think I'm being biased saying that.
No. The United States is the favorite in this. Like they 150% deserve that right now, based off of everything we talked about just now earlier with Hockey Canada and the
fire part of that Canadian spot though, dude. Jesus Christ, like that must be said. Like those, like that top six, that power play is gonna be automatic.
Yeah, Canada will always have that though. They'll always have the top end, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just
the depth. And,
the depth. I question. Cirelli's a fine player. Sam Bennett's had a really rough season this year. Who else is on? Travis Konechny. Like, really? That's the best you can do?
You think 2025 Brad Marchand should be there?
No, I don't.
Yeah. I feel like even the U.S. though made some interesting calls too. Like, I feel like no Tage Thompson there. Like, what are we doing here? Like, I mean, I don't think they constructed a perfect roster either. Yeah.
No,
like
really
Kreider and Trocheck. I don't know what they're doing here. Nelson's had an okay season, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah. It's really just the fourth line I don't like. Everything else is cool to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the U.S. will probably rely on its top 3 lines quite a bit here.
Yeah. No, that fourth line.
Do the same.
Yeah,
Canada's going to roll 4. I'm telling you.
I think the U.S. is going to roll 4 too.
I'm glad that I do like Hagel on that fourth line, but outside of that, Canada's doesn't scare me either. I'd say both Canada and U.S. fourth lines, they're definitely clear cut like role player and playing fourth lines. They definitely bring out some more skilled players to, I guess, ice that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's nitpicking talking about like the seventh defenseman, but like, what are you doing with Travis Sanheim?
That too. I'm just to see what Drew Doughty looks like, as he kind of just got back from injury. So how's that pair going to look?
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to be playing or if he's going to be the seventh defenseman.
Sanheim's the seventh at practice today, and Doughty was on the bottom pair with Josh Morrissey, I think it was.
Yeah, I do like even Crosby while playing through his injury. He's going to be playing with Nathan McKinnon. That's going to be pretty interesting to watch. Yeah. But like if Crosby hasn't been shooting the puck and we know McKinnon's a pass first guy, how's that going to look? Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe I'm on to nothing there. Just something I thought about. How is Crosby going to look in this tournament? Yeah.
Let's see.
DVD. We're going to have to wait to find out.
Yeah, I'm asking a bunch of questions I don't have the answer to. I'm just like, what's this? What's going to happen here? Well, you better watch to find out.
Thank God we're actually playing games and not just yapping about this stuff.
Okay, that's the thing. We've been yapping about this Four Nations for so long. Like, I hope it at least is somewhat like compelling and entertaining. I'm sure the USA Canada game will be, but outside of that, like, I'm not sure how excited I am for these like Sweden Finland games. I know they're pretty big rivals there, but all those games get the same juice. Even the USA Sweden, USA Finland. I don't know. I'm most excited when we play Canada. Like that's what grinds my gears there. Yeah,
that's
like,
what gets us up in the morning.
Yeah, and like we've talked about this, like we don't need to get into this more, but like the fact that it is Four Nations, there's no rush there. Like, definitely takes a little bit of excitement away from it. But we've talked about that. Yeah.
I think if you think the Kachuk brothers are not going to bring the intensity for,
are they on the same? No, they're not in the same line.
No. But if you don't think that those two will bring the intensity to Thursday's game against Finland, I think you don't know who those guys are.
Well, they better.
They will.
They better.
Oh, yeah. I think those two in a Canada land are going to bring the energy for sure. That'll be fun to watch.
Especially when it's 3-0 United States after the first two, and you don't
I
think
hope
Finland's
so.
going to have a little pushback.
How about that Matthews-Hughes connection, the second line? Very nice.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch for me.
Yeah.
How some of these guys, like, obviously I have a closer eye on the Leafs players, right? And I think, I've heard this take out there that, and I might have I think I've shared this on the show before, that like Matthews, Marner, and Nylander have only played with each other. Like they don't really go and represent. We haven't had best on best international hockey in a long time. So those guys, Austin Matthews was on Team North America the last time there was any sort of best on best, and Mitch Marner wasn't even on that team. And I just think, I think for them, it's going to be good, right? Like Matthews is the captain of the United States of America, and if he doesn't say anything into the locker room, like I said, if it's a 2-2 game going into the third period of Saturday's USA Canada game, like somebody's going to say something, and it'll probably be Matthew Tkachuk. Like it'll probably be, so how some of these guys, some of these younger guys learn and then apply it to the rest of the NHL season, I think is going to be really entertaining. Maybe Elias Pettersson picks up a few things from Victor Hedman. Maybe you get what I'm saying here.
Yes.
It does kind of feel like not to like Matthews. He has the C, but like I feel like he has more of the C like in like name. Like I don't know if he's really going to be the leader of that U.S. team. No, I feel like it's probably more like somebody like Matthew Tkachuk.
Also, I think a little bit here we're doing like fanfic, like thinking about what these guys are going to be doing and saying in the locker room heading into a third period.
What do you mean by that? Yeah. Good point.
I don't know. Like it's like we're not going to know who's going to be the vocal leader on this team. It's
okay, but is it not a disappointment if the U.S. doesn't win this?
Oh, it's a huge disappointment. Plus, like the U.S., like
There
it must be said, they've tended to choke in international competition. I think the last time they won a gold medal was the 1996 World Cup of Hockey. Last time they won the Olympics.
But you could say
the Miracle on Ace in 1980.
You could say the same thing about Canada, though.
No, you
Canada
can't. We just poked holes in this entire
2016
roster. The
World
goaltending
Cup,
sucks.
But that's such like a wussy little cop out. So what? You picked a bad team, so now it's like, oh, there's no pressure on them. They shouldn't win this tournament. Like
no,
that's
there's
so
pressure.
lame.
But if and when they lose, because they're not going to win this thing, like you'll be able to point to the blatant political decisions they made and said, hey, this is why you suck now.
Okay, yeah. Sure.
But if the United States ends up losing to Team Canada, or God forbid Sweden or Finland, like
I don't think this is going to shake up how everyone. It's 4 games. There's going to be a win that you don't see coming. Like Finland's going to win a game, Sweden's going to win a game. It's not going to be Canada and U.S. beat up on both Sweden and Finland, and then they play each other. It's not going to happen that way. There's only 4 games. There's no way.
I think for the sake of the ratings, I think it hope it happens that way.
Yeah, obviously, but it's.
And frankly, that's how it should happen.
Yes, like
Yeah,
on paper.
I think even with these roster decisions, I still think the USA Canada teams are considerably stronger than the Sweden and Finland ones. Maybe not Sweden. I think Sweden kind of stacks up pretty well, but maybe not Finland.
All right.
Do we want to play this game?
Let's play this game because we have more Four Nation shit to talk about on
Do
Wednesday.
we want to save the predictions for Wednesday or?
Yes. Yeah, we got to save something for Wednesday. What the
Yeah,
fuck?
yeah. So we have something to talk about.
Oh, the game on Wednesday is not until 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or 7 o'clock
We could save
Central.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We'll do predictions Wednesday.
That's the European game, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll back up over here. So
All right.
there's no.
So
there's
I
no
have a
cheating
list
going on.
of random NHL players on my phone, like fringe fourth line. Some of these guys are guys that have bounced around, so it's like shit.
Oh,
What
boy.
team have they played for? It's a collection of things, right? And Justin and Tassos are going to be racing to who can name the team that this player
he's gonna
plays for
destroy me.
first. All right. So that's
Here,
the
I'll
competition.
put my phone down so
That's-
everybody knows.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
not
Me too.
Cheating.
All right. Me too. I'll put it
That's
away.
the competition here.
All
All right. All right.
All right.
The first player is Mark Gatcomb.
The New York Islanders.
Ooh, Mark Gatcomb.
It is.
Fuck
the New,
is that?
It's the New York Islanders.
He is a fourth line winger.
It's an AI generated player.
He is split time this year between the Bridgeport Islanders and the New York Islanders, but yes, he is currently the fourth, the right winger on the fourth line.
Please don't clip this. I'm gonna get absolutely destroyed
no,
like you
we're
did against
clipping
me.
this, dude.
Oh no!
All right, the
no.
next player.
I'm gonna get exposed.
Kyle McLean.
No, I know that name sounds familiar. Is that?
It's
is that
also the New
Islanders?
York Islanders.
I think we said that at the same time.
We did say that at the same time.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
we'll do no point there then.
Yeah, no point.
Okay, wash. All
I
right.
figured I'd go to Fringe Island.
I know that sounded familiar. That one sounded familiar. All
I was
right.
like, imagine I just go through the entire Islanders bottom.
I mean, that basically sums up the Islanders. Just a bunch of random players
True.
like that.
All right.
Okay, Jesus.
All
All right,
right,
here we go.
Third player, Josh Mahura.
Seattle
Oh,
Kraken.
Yes, Seattle
Damn it.
Kraken.
I know him too. I just can't remember who he played for.
Damn. Yeah, because he went from Anaheim to Florida, and then now he's on Seattle.
All right.
All right, so it's 2-0.
0.
2-0-1. Yeah.
Okay. Jacob Bryson.
Sabres.
Yes. Justin!
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
At least I won't have a goose egg. At least I won't have a goose egg.
I knew it was the Sabres too, but then
Two-
I was
2-1
like,
and
oh,
1.
does he still play for the Sabres?
You guys
Yeah.
are so
I was like, has he
good.
been traded? Yeah.
my
Oh yeah.
gosh.
We're doing. I know I'm doing better than you would in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, not even close.
For sure. You
All
guys
right,
have
all right,
better
all right.
puck knowledge.
Keep her going.
All right. So it's 2-1. All right. Keaton Middleton.
Colorado
Wow.
Avalanche.
Wow.
Yes, Colorado
Damn it. I was
Avalanche.
thinking of Jake. I was thinking of the other Middleton. Fuck.
Yes, and also
Damn
has
it.
been playing some time. And I had a feeling Tassos was going to have an edge because Keaton Middleton was drafted by Toronto in 2016.
I had
There you
no
go.
idea.
He's always tapped into his
okay.
Toronto guys.
I have no idea.
He's splitting time between the Avalanche and the Colorado Eagles this
Shocker.
year.
The other Middleton screwed me over. I was
All right,
thinking of
I
the
don't
actual
know-
good one.
I don't know if either of you guys are going to get this. All right, the next player. It's 3-1.
Yep.
Raphael Lavoie.
Oh, Oilers.
No, the Vegas Golden Knights.
Bridgeport.
Yes! Holy
Fuck!
shit!
He
You
was
guys
with the
are
Oilers.
so
I know he was.
good.
I know he used to be with the
You
Oilers.
guys are fucking losing. Go outside and touch grass, you two. Okay.
God damn. When the hell was
Okay,
he traded?
check. This guy, Raphael Lavoie.
He was claimed off waivers like 3 different
He was claimed
times.
off waivers 3 times between the same teams, the Oilers, and they kind of just switched off.
God damn it, man.
I can't believe you guys both knew that. No, but yes, he's played 4 games for Vegas this year, and he played 7 last year for Edmonton. So the fact that you guys both knew the teams, that's hilarious.
He's more tapped into the waivers stuff, I guess.
All right, 4-1. All right, another rough one. Rasmus Hoyland.
No fucking idea.
That's not a real player. That's not a real player.
That is the
That's a
center-
chat GPT.
that is
That's a
the-
shell name.
That is the center forward for my Manchester United in the English Premier League. That's not a hockey
Oh.
player.
I knew I wouldn't know any
That is-
soccer players. You would destroy us in the Premier League version of this.
I was gonna say I know
just
that's
have
not
you
an
throw in
NHL
some
player.
random-
I had to throw a spanner in the works there. All right.
All right,
Yeah,
back
so
at it.
No point for Rasmus Hoyland. All
All
right.
right.
Jacob Moverara.
Moverare. The LA Kings.
Yeah.
5-1 now. Good luck.
5-1,
Now
Jesus.
it's just not getting blown out. Make it
There's,
respectful.
No. You could get the next 4 and tie him.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's totally gonna happen. It's over, man. It's
All
done.
right. The next
All right.
name on our list is David Gustafson.
Winnipeg Jets.
What, dude? This guy is a fucking freak.
Oh man,
Oh
this is
gosh.
embarrassing. I'm getting exposed right now.
Yeah,
This is the best you could do.
Swedish center. I mean, dude, these are as fringe as it gets. Swedish center drafted in 2018 by the Jets, 24 years old, fourth line guy.
I'm too tapped in the Hawks, man. Sometimes I forget about the
I know, me
everybody
too.
else.
That's why
I wasn't always that way.
League
Like
knowledge is not
Younger
good
me
enough.
would be better at this game. Actually, I'm like I don't know everybody now. Like I know most players, like 90%, but there's like a 10% in there that
All right, the next player on our list, Matt Grzelcyk.
The
I know.
Pittsburgh Penguins.
Oh, he's too quick. Bruins? No, he was with the Bruins.
He's on the Pens. He was on the Bruins and then got traded this year or this.
I'm
year.
always
signed as
stuck
a
on
free
their.
agent.
I'm always
Yeah.
stuck on their old teams.
Come on.
He's too
All right.
fast.
Give me
I can
something
name
hard.
him, but he's too fast.
This one, he's gonna.
quick.
I think you guys are both gonna nail this one because I figured that there would be a few of these names that you guys would take forever and not like figure out the team.
Yeah, I was
But
hoping.
Tassos is-
Yeah, he's like a
Sorry.
computer over there.
Yeah.
He's like Wikipedia's in his brain.
and I don't think this is gonna be the hardest. I think this might be. All right,
He's not cheating over there, right?
Nope.
No.
My hands are
Okay.
up. I'll
and
put
I
it up.
also,
Yeah,
I'm
my
also,
phone's
I'm
on the
also
table.
like hiding. I'm holding my phone like this.
Yeah.
Luca Del Bel Belouz.
The Columbus Blue Jackets.
This is unfair, dude. This is like I got nothing here. Is it done? Put me out of my misery right
overall
now.
in 2022 by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Has been splitting time with the Jackets and the Cleveland Monsters of the AHL.
I probably should have known him then. Damn it. What are we
All
at
right.
now? What is it? 8-1 or something? Jesus.
Yeah, and this is our
I'm
final.
kind of
Okay.
pissed. I'm kind of pissed you got one on me. I'm kinda pissed.
So, can you just give me the McLeod one too? I feel like we were pretty close on that one.
We'll give you the tie.
We'll give you that
Tie
one.
goes to the.
All right.
To the
Yeah.
Justin.
To the
All right.
Justin.
Make it look better. All right. Last one. Is this the last one?
It is
Okay. Cool. Let's go off strong here. All right.
Brian Dumoulin.
Penguins.
Anaheim Ducks.
God damn, it's always the old teams. He used to play for the Penguins.
He was on
Fuck.
the Penguins. He was
God
on the
damn
Penguins. Then was on Seattle last year, and now he's on the Anaheim Ducks.
Well, if we were naming former teams that they used to play for, I would have won.
Oh my gosh, what a game. Tassos' fucking shell knowledge is crazy.
Terrible, man. Well, at least I got two. You probably would have got none.
Yeah, probably. I'm really impressed by the Raphael Lavoie one. Was crazy that you guys both said the two teams that he's only played 11 games and you guys fucking.
Well, I suppose I had to get humbled after I beat you last week. I had to be put in this position. That's not a good feeling. Now I sympathize with you.
Now I think the next
I don't like
time we do
losing.
this-
I don't like losing.
Oh well, you got dusted, brother.
I should have done some. I wish I would. If I had known this game, I definitely would have like researched over the weekend or shit. But probably a good thing I didn't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or you could just get good. No, I'm just.
Yeah. Or you just
sorry,
need
I'm
to
not,
hyper.
I'm sorry, I'm
focus
not
on the
tapped into
bottom
these
6 guys
healthy
and-
scratches out here. Yeah. These AHL
I was
plugs.
trying to mostly pick teams that like we don't really watch all that often. So like, damn.
A lot of those players I knew, I just couldn't remember what team they played for.
Yeah.
That's where it tripped me up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what tripped me up. Yeah.
I think the next time we do this, we gotta like mix in guys that are playing over in Europe to make this a little bit more challenging.
Well, I mean,
Well,
that's
you think if
How's
I have
he
a hard
gonna
time
get
being
it?
with NHL, how am I going to beat you? Who's playing in the Swiss league?
yeah, I do not know any international players.
I don't know any these ZSC Lions guys.
No, I'm sure, like Dennis Mulligan is probably ripping up the Swiss
Oh,
league right
yeah,
now.
yeah, I know him. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
that's
some guys.
It's a Phil Kershav's future home over there.
Yeah, exactly.
All
All
right.
right. Do we have anything
Somebody in
else?
chat said if I'm ever in the cash cab, I'm calling Tassos.
I mean, I guess I'm a memes merchant, man.
Does
I
the
got
cash cab still
got up my
exist?
knowledge here.
No, I don't think so. I haven't seen. Also, I haven't
cash
watched
cab was a-
cable television in a long time.
The cash cab was electric.
Oh my
dude.
gosh, I used to watch that show all the time.
Yeah, it was great. Really great. All right. Anything else, fellas?
Oh, that was so fun. We're gonna do more of those.
My ego has been popped. I got nothing right now.
Maybe I'll come up. Maybe I'll figure out another game for Wednesday's show.
We could do like drafted guys. Like, who are you drafted by? Like that would be a fun
yeah,
one.
maybe. Yeah, I'm always in the prospect stuff, so maybe I'd be better at that.
True.
Yeah.
True. We could do that.
Yeah.
All right. Or
Different ideas.
here's what you do. Do like that, but like do like random Hawks players that like you name like the year or something. That's what I
Well,
was
that's
thinking.
That's intense.
obviously Justin's gonna be
like, how about we pick this game that I'll certainly win?
I need to bounce back after that. I can't have two performances like that. Maybe I'll pick the game and you two can do it, so you can experience what that's like.
so Tassos can
I'll find something for Wednesday.
wreck me on the show.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
guys. I didn't mean to go so hard in the paint there.
Yeah, dude. At the end there, I was just
I'm glad
like,
you went. I don't like it when people go easy on you. I'd rather be, like, know that, like, that's anyway.
Fair enough.
I don't like being mercy ruled.
like, I would not know.
You know what I
like,
don't
the
like? You know what I
dueling,
hated?
like-
You know what I hated in hockey? Like when like a team runs up a score on you, they start like
Running
start
the
playing
clock.
running the clock. I hate that.
I hate
like
it.
I want to
or
experience
they
the
put like
entire
defensemen
game.
at forward.
Or they
That's
just,
something
they
we
just
used to do
stop
in
trying.
soccer.
I think it's more insulting when you stop trying when you're up on somebody. That's like when it's like not even. It's like a joke. That always pisses me off.
In soccer, we would like take our goalie out and let our goalie go play forward and try to score.
That's just like
And you're
like,
getting
come
scored
on.
on by kids that are like can barely put 2 feet in front of each other.
Yeah, no, I hate that. That drives me nuts. Yeah.
I played goalie in lacrosse, and when we were up big one game, they let me like go play attack, and I scored a goal on a school full of very small children, and we won, and it was great.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's good beating up on people.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I'm used to being on the
Everyone needs
opposite
to
end of
win.
it.
Somebody was upset. El Ruse in chat was upset that I'm a Manchester United fan.
Is that right?
Fortunately, it is true.
That's your team?
Yes,
Yeah,
it is my club.
basic.
Since I was a small boy.
A
So,
wee lad.
Yes, since I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
All right.
Big messy guy, or he doesn't even play anymore, does
no,
he? Yeah.
no, I'm not a Messi guy at all. I hate Messi. I'm a Ronaldo guy because Ronaldo used to play for United. So
Oh, he did. That shows you my football knowledge. It's called soccer. Rah.
yeah,
All right. Anything else?
I'm getting booed now.
I
for
got
my-
nothing.
Yeah,
I
we're
got
getting-
nothing
We're
else.
getting booed
I'm
off the
getting
stage
booed.
here.
I'm
I
getting
got
booed
one
for
more
my
thing.
Ronaldo
I don't
takes.
know if we mentioned him because we mentioned him every show. Maybe you guys mentioned him. Nick Lardis, 52 goals in 50 games, setting a Brantford Bulldogs franchise record. I had to get the Nick Lardis mention because we mentioned him every show. So that's what I'll end with.
Future Greek hockey legend. Nick
There we go.
Lardis.
There we go.
All right. No post games for the next 2 weeks. We're live streaming the game on Thursday. We are live streaming the first
No
game
Four
on
Nations
Saturday.
post games.
No,
I was kidding.
Fuck
Yeah,
no, dude.
Absolutely not.
Tassos tries
No.
to get me to stay for a Four Nations post game. I'm walking the fuck out of the. I'm quitting this whole thing.
No. I wouldn't. I can't do that, dude. I thought about it for a second. I was like, oh, maybe the U.S. No. You can't get me to.
You guys could maybe do it for the U.S. Candidate game.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the
Saturday
USA.
night.
That would
Yeah,
maybe be
yeah.
worthwhile.
I think
Like,
everybody's
I would
gonna be
probably-
into that.
No.
I would probably do that.
Yeah. Actually,
I'm working,
that's
so I
not bad.
can't. I can't be on the Saturday, but I think
Yeah.
that'd be a good post game.
If the U.S. wins, if they don't win,
Also,
no.
but also, who knows? Like, if this tournament ends up being a fucking dud, and it's just like these guys like barely try, and it's
I hope not, man. You seem to think more along that wavelength. Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
We just need somebody to check somebody from behind in the first game.
Yeah.
Really get the temperature.
That'll get it
up.
right
Yes.
into it. Yeah.
You
No.
need someone to take a cheap shot on like McKinnon or something.
There you go.
All right. Oh, you know what else I heard on 32 Thoughts? And then we'll end with it. But like, if you get suspended in this, it doesn't go towards like
yeah.
NHL games.
That's
What does it go to, then?
Imagine,
Four
if
Nations
it-
face-off games.
imagine Matthew
Let's be the
Tkachuk-
last ones.
Yeah,
Imagine
literally.
Matthew Tkachuk just like buries Sidney Crosby, and it's like, oh my god.
Let's see how the upper body's really feeling.
Yikes. All right. Subscribe to this podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. Leave a 5-star rating and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Live stream Thursday, Saturday. Maybe we'll do a post game after Saturday. Maybe not. Probably not. But yeah, that's it from us. We will be back Wednesday. See you then.